ShinRobjira.
Hey, that's mildly adequate.
You ready for Godzilla? Excuse me, gentlemen. My business is with someone else. Rob gave me only one instruction, and that is to preserve the insult. We snip away. This isn't giving me trouble though, but you know what they say. When snip fails you, you step. Keep eyes on me. You're not going to miss this. It is on time for snipping. Oh, don't you worry, dear. I saved you for last. Apparently, we can attack this at an angle. I see who's hiding over there. You cannot hide from Dr. Snippin' Snips. Do not fight me on this. I am Dr. Snippin' Snips. You do not win. You'll never win. Alright, and now for the true snipping. Let's get nice and close to this swamp, mate. Oh, it does put a lump in pants. Oh dear my. Take this one out of the box and let us build the tail out and we'll go. A snipping? Are you telling me that snip has escaped Dr. Snip not anymore? Or did it? Oh damn. There we go! Shot me right in the face. And now I won't think it is time for Rob to return. Oh, Rob.
I'm not gonna lie to any of you. I get more and more scared of that guy the more he does these. What's going on there, everybody? Rob back, and we're just going to force this tail in. Actually, you know, it's been such a long time. I think I need the air dryer. Let's dry some air.
It's getting good right here, mate. Nice and squishy. Malleable.
I only now just noticed that I heated up the ball joint and not the tail. Alrighty, so let's pop this onto Godzilla's buttocks. His tail nub. Ooh, there we go.
So before I get into articulation, I really wanted to show off the difference between the reissue and the original. The original is going to be on the right and the reissue is on the left, and I think you can already tell the major difference between this, and that is in the paint, and in how it's applied, I think. When it comes to the reissue, you do have more of a muted, less brighter gray. With the original one, you have a lot more of that gray, and it's a lot brighter. Here with the reissue, I feel like every piece of Ray's skin was hit with that muted gray, whereas with the original, it kind of feels like it was just plastered on in some areas, especially when it comes down to the right leg over here. So I feel like it was definitely applied a lot more on the professional side of things. It looks a lot cleaner, and again, that muted tone to the gray is just oh so noticeable. Taking a closer look at the body, you can see a little bit more of what I'm saying here. A lot less of that gray is going to be in between the grooves of Godzilla's tree bark looking skin. With the original, especially on the legs and some parts of the chest, you can definitely see a lot more of that caked on. That's not to say it doesn't exist on the newer figure. You do see some areas with some caking of the paint, but it looks a lot less noticeable. Well, to me at least. And it really does just help make the figure look a lot more detailed as well. Now when it comes to the application of the paint from a side view, you can definitely see a little bit more of what I was just saying. Looking at the side of the figures here, you can definitely see what I'm talking about when it comes to that, like that caking of the grays, especially when it comes to the original. You can see a lot more of it on the jaw, you can see a lot more of it on the neck. Maybe the reissue just looks better because the gray is a lot less, you know, pow right in your eyes. But I can see between the original and the reissue that the reissue does suffer from some of that caking. It's just a lot less noticeable. Smart or stupid, good or bad, it still looks better, to me at least. Now, the one area on these figures that you are going to notice a lot of change is, of course, on the dorsal fins. With the reissue, the dorsal fins feel more like an extension of Godzilla's skin. Like, they're not heavily broken up by too many different colors there, and it feels a little bit more on the natural side. It's just, when it comes to the original, they don't feel natural. And I know that's a funny thing to say when talking about a Godzilla figure, but not all of them are like fully painted, especially around the roots and the sides. Some of them just look a little funky to me. So realistically, the original sculpt is just fine. It's just the painting really wasn't there yet. I feel the reissue just looks a lot better. And I really do think it is because of the more muted tone they used for this Godzilla. So in a sense, the reissue to me is better because it's a little bit darker, but I still love them both equally. Another sense of different that you are going to get with the dorsal fins are going to be the ones at the base of the tail, not so much on the entire tail, but as you can see, they actually look painted this time. They don't look like they were dipped like they did on the original. You can see that the painting kind of followed the curves of the dorsal fins instead of just, you know, ding dong and dip. A difference you're going to find between the original and the reissue is that the pupils are going to be pointed more so down instead of just forward, although the original really didn't have them fully pointing forward because mine kind of looks like he got knocked in the head a couple of times. I really do like that the reissue's pupils are pointing down because that was something from the original Godzilla that just made him so terrifying, is that he is looking down at you, at all of us, running around like a bunch of ants. Like, that always just spooked me out. That's why I love Shin Godzilla so much. But before I go off on a tangent, the teeth do look a lot better this time around. They are much more heavily painted. I feel like the original's teeth weren't painted as heavily, and the paint itself just kind of aged over time because they look a little not gray anymore. They kind of have like a little bit of a yellow hue to them. And here we have a closer look at the reissue and the original. The reissue's teeth, I feel, were painted a lot better. The original feels a little spotty in some areas, especially when looking at the teeth from a side view over here. But for the most part, the teeth, again, they feel sharper, and they look like they were slimmed up a little bit, especially when it comes to Godzilla's fangs. Now, I know these two figures don't really share too many similarities other than they are the same mold, but there are a couple of things to compare here. One of which being, they both have atomic blast features, and they are both different colors, but there's still one other thing that NECA managed to improve on in between the 56's release and the 54's reissue. Can you guess what it is by looking at this frame? Open sesame. Ho-ho. Yeah, homeboy got the lockjaw. Wowzers. That jaw just stretched all the way out, but when you look at the reissue, it's nice and compact, and when it's closed, it doesn't look like he broke his jaw. In fact, he actually looks like he's staring at 56's jaw. The other thing being, this Godzilla has much smaller pupils and doesn't look like he's riding high on some good hallucinogens. Even when compared to the original 1954, even his pupils weren't this big. Another fair comparison here would be the two atomic blast features that come with these figures. Clearly the 1956 version is very colorful, it's got orange and yellows, while the 54 reissue is a little bit more basic. I'm pretty sure these are the same pieces, just with different colors. There are a few differences here and there, but that could just be, you know, from holding them up at different angles and such. They, either way, do look good.
Alrighty, now we're going to move on to articulation, but first, I'm going to show you how to put this thing in this guy's mouth. Ha! So make sure the holes are on top. When you angle this thing into this guy's mouth, you push, that's it. It's in his mouth. It is going to stay there. It is not loose like the 64 version was, because I don't think that thing was even made to have that thing in his mouth.
Jaw can open and close.
You can look down pretty far. Look at that. That is just beautiful. Can we just, like, sun? Mwah! Beautiful. You can go all the way around at the head. You can go all the way around at the neck. And wowzers, this guy's neck is loose. You can go all the way around at the shoulders. And just because I always seem to forget to do this, he can flap. He can do the ugly chicken. You will be able to go all the way around at the elbows, bend at the elbow, and all the way around at the wrists. And at the palms over here, you will be able to bend in this far. Give Godzilla a nice fist, and you will be able to bend out that far as well for a high five.
High five, Rob.
You will be able to go all the way around at the torso. Now, I have not successfully made these legs go all the way around because I was too afraid. So I figure if I'm going to break it, I might as well break it on camera. That would just make it funnier, but it wouldn't be funny for my wallet. So as you saw, legs can go all the way around. You're going to get a nice bend forward and bend back at the knee. Nothing crazy. And you're going to get a swivel at the ankle, and that is going to produce a decent enough, well, barely existent enough pivot at the ankle. Now before I move on to the tail, I need you to look up, look down, just like that. Your eyes do not deceive you. Paint chipping. But I assure you it is not that bad because it's coming from the joints over here on the legs. That's just the painted over joints that NECA does sometimes. You will notice all of that chipped paint kind of just coming off of the joint as you mess around with them. Same could be said with the thighs. It's nothing that you're going to notice on the outside of the figure because it is more than likely on the joints, because as you can see, I'm not seeing anything like coming off or anything like that, so it's good. It's all great. It's fantastic even. Look at that. You could bend. Well, you could kind of bend. Benjamin Button. There we go. Oh yeah, you see? I can kind of see some of it falling. Yeah, right there. We're seasoning this shiz. Godzilla pepper and salt shakers. When, Toho? When? We'll move on to the tail. You can go all the way around at all the different segmentations. Oh, wait a minute now. And go again. And then, as per usual with the earlier NECA models, you are going to get a bendy wire at the tip of the tail. Holy crap, can you imagine if NECA were able to keep the rights and they actually released a brown variant of this figure? That would have been awesome! Missed opportunity. Dang it, Toho. The NECA 1954 reissue really is a fantastic figure and absolutely improves on all of the original's faults, minus the tail being kinda skinny. The paint job is out of this world, the eyes are finally centered and looking downward, and the inclusion of an atomic blast effect is just awesome. I really would have loved to see all the other older NECA Godzilla figures get this kind of a redo. The 94, the 95, 85/84 technically did get it, but it would have been great to see them with updated paint, an atomic blast effect, and a new box to boot. It is unfortunate that I couldn't find the poster release box of this figure for less than $60, but it is what it is. I took what I could get, and to be completely honest, I am very, 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 very happy with this figure, and I hope I convince some of you to maybe chase one down for a decent enough price. And that is it, everybody. It's going to be really weird not having new NECA Godzilla releases next year. It really, really is. You know, with the announcement, it didn't really hit me, but now, like, you know, we're in November now. We got one more month left of 2020, and it's just now hitting me that 2021 isn't going to have any NECA Godzilla releases, and that's weird because for the past 6 years, it's just been just such a treat having NECA developing figures for us. And I'm not gonna lie, even though I don't hate the Playmates line, I really, really am going to miss NECA. I feel like they were just getting there too, you know? Like this 1954 reissue, the 2014 reissue, the 89 and 2003 figures and their subsequent repaints. It just feels like they were right about there. Feeling kind of feelsy today on Godzilla 66 because now I'm really realizing, where the heck would I be without Godzilla? Would you guys even be subscribed to this channel? Probably not. I'm starting to like really think about everything. It's like I owe a lot to Godzilla. I owe 95% of my success to Godzilla. And sometimes I think I forget about that. And if it comes off as if I'm ungrateful or whatever, I apologize. I am increasingly grateful for everything that's happened on this channel and for Godzilla. Just, you know, sometimes I want to talk about something else. And next year I am going to be talking about quite a lot of Godzilla stuff. We're gonna have a lot of releases next year, I imagine. So thank you all for being subscribers. Thank you all for being so cool and watching my videos, whether they were Godzilla related or not. And I can't honestly say this is going to be the last bout of NECA Godzilla reviews because I was going through the NECA ARC reviews for Rob's Godzilla Room reviews way back in the early days of Rob's Godzilla Room reviews, and I sound burnt out to heck, and I wasn't even trying to hide it. Maybe late 2021, early 2022, we'll revisit the NECA Godzilla line in a different way, in a different format. I'll right the wrongs that I oh so wrongly wronged. But anyway, I've been going on
long enough. I have been ShinRobjira. A very happy 66 years to our boy, the Big G, and I will see you all next week, next Friday, with a brand new video. Peace out, everybody.